Some major news from the FDA today. The agency approved a controversial drug that could potentially slow the cognitive decline of Alzheimer's disease. It's not a cure, but it could give patients a little more time. The drug is called aducanumab. It's been the subject of a lot of disagreement among doctors, with conflicting studies on its actual effectiveness with cognition. It's the first Alzheimer's treatment approved by the FDA in nearly 20 years. Jim Herlihy is with the Colorado chapter of the Alzheimer's Association. The national organization lobbied for the FDA to make this approval. So Jim, this is a big development. So let's start with the reaction. How are caregivers, patients, and advocates taking this news?
Well, there is great excitement and enthusiasm in the Alzheimer's community because, as you noted, this is the first medication approved by the FDA in 20 years, but it's also the first treatment for this drug, for this disease, since it was first diagnosed in 1906. So we are long overdue for something that can make an impact on the sixth leading cause of death in the United States.
Yeah, and expected to grow exponentially by 2050. So we know that this isn't a cure. How does this drug actually work?
Well, it removes amyloid in the brain that is collecting, that is believed by scientists to be impacting our brain's function and reducing our memories and our cognition. So by removing that amyloid, the researchers believe that this will improve our memory over time, or at least help sustain it. I shouldn't say improve it, because it will not reverse Alzheimer's, but what it'll do is prolong cognition at existing levels and slow the decline.
Yeah, which is the first time we've been managing symptoms for so long. This is the first time where it seems like we might be able to slow them down a little bit, which is good news. So there's some controversy here, though. There have been conflicting studies about whether or not this drug is effective at that cognition part. The FDA panel actually recommended against its approval last year. So is it still the right move to approve it with all that in mind?
Oh, absolutely. And one important thing to realize about this approval is that this moves the drug into a phase 4 study. So the FDA will be able to analyze the results going forward to see how it's impacting people's cognition, what are the side effects, so measuring its effectiveness overall. And if at some period in time they decide it's not having the desired effect, they can always reverse this. But it is putting the drug into use. And what we have found is a 22% impact on people's cognition, particularly for those in the earliest stages of the disease. So being able to, as you noted, prolong people's quality of life, help them enjoy their families and their friends, and preserve their memories and preserve people's independence for a longer period of time. And it's hard to put a cost on that.
Yeah. First time since 2003, the FDA has approved a drug like this for treating Alzheimer's, or at least a drug related to Alzheimer's. Does this create a push in the future for manufacturers and for the FDA to try to keep the work going?
Well, right now there are several hundred drugs in trials through the FDA. So I think this is going to create a push because, as you noted, this is not a cure. So there's still a need to find that cure, but this can be part of a cocktail of treatment for people that can include lifestyle changes, diet, exercise, socialization, and other things. And the Alzheimer's Association has studies looking at those things right now. But what's happening is that we have seen a 7-fold increase in Alzheimer's research funding over the last 10 years. And now this is going to provide some encouragement to the research industry to be looking for new steps that they can take to explore different channels and maybe find what will ultimately be a cure.
Oh, Jim. If only one day you and I can talk and have the same conversation. We're talking about the first survivor of Alzheimer's disease. That would be something. Jim Herlihy from the Alzheimer's Association Colorado chapter. Jim, we appreciate it.
Thank you, Steve.